Okay, hello everybody. This is TA Escalation Replays, and I'm Wingflyer, and I'm going to bring you a 3v3 today on Corrupted Hills. Between two groups of skilled players. Here in the top left we have the yellow Corps Commander, no rules, going vehicle first. We have Wotan, I believe. The player's name Bhutan. I think it's probably just Wotan being silly. And we have Stag Jr. in the top right, the dark green Corps Commander, also going vehicle first. And in the bottom right, we have John, the red arm commander. We have Root, the brown Corps Commander, and we have finally Corb, the orange arm commander. Now, as I've stated before, in some of these bigger games, the player list does not work, so we're just going to have to do the best we can here, guys. It is top versus bottom. The teams are yellow, blue, and dark green versus red, brown, and orange. And already we've got some harassment going on here. I think this is Stag. Killing some metal extractors there with a couple weasels. Very annoying. And yeah. John gonna slowly clean that up and attempt to rebuild those. Here comes a single AK to help protect that. And in the meantime, John going to try to get a little harassment done on his own, but these instigators should easily clean that push up. And as you can see here on these hills, there is quite a bit of metal. I think that's why it's called Corrupted Hills. These hills are a very impressive source of income if you can take advantage. So we'll have to see how the players are able to control this. Certainly the team that does a better job of taking the hills should have pretty significant advantage. But here in the middle, some fight between AKs and Peewees. Yeah, flashes and instigators. These dragon's teeth, I guess, are just part of the map. I don't think the players built these. I think these were part of the design. Kind of strange, but I guess it does make those areas easier to defend and harder to traverse, more difficult to bypass or raid. So yeah, pretty interesting design here. Now typically on these 3v3 games, the players will rush T2 very quickly, but Stag content to go 2 vehicle plants first and apply that early game pressure with a combination of instigators and now some levelers, I think, coming in. Instigators versus AKs should be a pretty easy win for those instigators. They are quite a bit stronger in equal numbers. But now we have some thuds that have been created by Root to apply that long-range harassment. Now, in escalation, both thuds and Rockos have been buffed, but I wasn't aware of this until recently when I went to look into the game files. The Rockos have a range of 400, which outranges most T1 units, so the Rockos already have a pretty impressive firing distance. but the Thuds have a range of 700. So I thought that their range would be relatively close, but no, the Thuds are actually almost twice the range of the Roccos. A very impressive distance that they can fire at T1. The only thing is, they're not the most accurate, so Roccos are typically better in direct engagement, and Thuds are better at harassment, especially if you can get a lot of them, and they're also good at killing defenses because they can outrange these light laser towers, but they do need vision, and unfortunately Blue does not have vision, so he's just walking into range of these light laser towers and getting killed. Very heads up play there by Wotan to build this defensive line of light laser towers protected by Dragon's Teeth. And we'll have to see whether the northern team can break this defense. So here we have no rules with an army of levelers moving in to assault this line of LLTs and some AKs. And overall, it does look like this attack will eventually be cleaned up, I think. But they did take out the left side of the mountain here, and in the north, Mavericks. Orange has built some Mavericks. He is now moving forward. He has taken out a Geo, and he is taking out lots of economy here, taking out metal spots. And if he gets this advanced vehicle plant, that would be absolutely devastating. Yellow is in a horrible position now. He's going to want to take out these energy storages as well. That is why early Maverick pushes are so devastating. Core has a very hard time dealing with them, especially if they go vehicle, because Mavericks eat T1 alive, and if the player building Mavericks can get them early enough, they can just kill you. So that's exactly what happened. Yellow is out of the game, and that's devastating. So very heads-up play by Corb to rush to T2, get those Mavericks out early, and finish off his opponent in a very rapid fashion. Like I said, very impressive play there, and yeah, as a core player, you always have to be ready for those Maverick pushes. They will kill you almost instantly. So, yeah, now the top team down to 2 players. They have Wotan, I believe, and Stag, but these are very good players, so they can definitely come back into this. And excuse me, I said earlier. I think I said this was Wotan, but this is Root. But you know, if you look in the top right here, he's calling himself Rutan, so very confusing for the caster to name himself that way. But I think just some levity between the players here. But yes, Brown is Root, and he has taken this bottom mountain here. He's now building a GAT to defend it. And yeah, the southern team certainly in a favorable position because of Yellow's untimely demise. And we'll have to see if the northern team, which is Wotan and Stag, are able to come back from this very precarious position that they find themselves in. Corb still spamming out those Mavericks, and Root with some storms, but these Manticore very effective against the army composition the South currently has. They outrange all T1 units and most T2 units, but these Dominators are a good counter because the Dominators can, I believe, outrange the Manticore. So we're about to have an engagement here, I think, between these two groups. And yeah, these Dominators, very effective, but he needs to micro them well. He needs to keep them out of range of these Manticore. Dominator's a bit of a paper tiger. They deal a lot of damage at a long range, but they don't have that much health. So as long as he can keep these at a distance, Root should have an advantage. And Orange asking for help from his teammates. Certainly, he is getting some harassment by Stag pushing into his base, and Stag now also pushing into the middle with this group of Reapers. But my, that is an impressive defensive line there. A Guardian, a Sentinel, some light laser towers, some Lugers in the background. It doesn't seem like they're going to be pushing that side of the map anytime soon. And in the meantime, Wotan moving down with an army of Mavericks and Fidos to try to claim the middle territory here for his own and push back his opponents. So again, he is going to run now into this impressive defensive line here, and most likely that army will be cleaned up in rapid fashion. So great job there by Wotan, but overall I would say that the southern team still having an advantage, still ahead, and the northern team is going to struggle to get back into this game. They are still taking over the map, the void left behind by Yellow's death. So can they both protect their territory with 2 players and build enough of an army to put pressure on the southern team and ultimately emerge victorious? We will see. It kind of depends on what the southern team is doing. If I were in this game and I was the south team, I would probably try to get even more ahead economically, because the northern team is certainly going to be scrambling to get their economies online and defend themselves. Perhaps going T3 might be an option for the south. Alternatively, they could apply a lot of pressure and try to end the game quickly. Both of those are decent options. And Fidos en masse are one of the scariest units in the game, in my opinion. They have a very good range, and they shoot out this massive volley of plasma shells that, yeah, it just turns out to be very hard to deal with. Especially if they outrange you, and certainly Fidos outrange Reapers. So, yeah, Fidos en masse with some spiders in the background. Quite a force to be reckoned with, I would say, and they're even pretty good against defenses as well. So the Sentinel will go down very quickly, but up here we have some bulwarks, and that will be much harder for the Fidos to deal with because they have a very large range. They even outrange Fidos, and he's got 3 of them now, building a 4th and also building a Sentinel. Stag also with some bombers there. We'll have to see how he wants to use those, or if he does use those. And, yeah, both teams now just upgrading their economies and demarcating their own positions. On this map, it will be difficult to push for either team because, again, you have these naturally built-in dragon's teeth. And that does make the sides a little more defensible than it would be otherwise. And, yeah, now Stag going to push in with these pillagers, but he will run into this Guardian, which should outrange even the Pillagers. And our first tactical nuke, boom! It's going to take out that that army of Jethros and Fidos there. So that was an impressive nuke, tactical nuke. We've got 2 repulsors here being created by John. I don't know if that is a pseudonym. I don't know if John is actually another player. But anyways, very heads up by John, and now they're going to push into the hole that they just created with that nuke. Combination of Bulldogs and Fidos and Mavericks. And they're going to be walking the gauntlet here, but I don't know how much they're going to get done. These bulwarks and light laser towers on either side of the chasm here should be more than enough to stop that push. In the meantime, Stag making his own push into the south. Combination of Pillagers, Diplomats, and Goliath. And will it be enough, though? Diplomats specifically designed to take out defenses. Their missiles do not have any homing capability, so they are really only strong against non-moving targets, but they are extremely effective against static defenses. And this will, at the very least, take out this front line of defense, but can they get any further? In the meantime, Root bringing his army of cans and Dominators to ward off this attack. And seeing that, Stag likely to pull out of this engagement. And those Goliaths are probably gone, but it wasn't a total loss. He did take out the front row of defense, and he did take out some metal spots. So, yeah, a very even game. Despite the fact that the northern team lost a player early on, it still feels like either team could win. And Root now pushing into the production line of Stag with these cans and some Bulldogs. And how much can he get done? That is the question. Can he actually take out any crucial structures? These Bulldogs moving up the right will take out that advanced vehicle plant. And they've seen Stag's calm. They're going to try to kill him. They could assassinate him here, and then it would just be Wotan, and a 1v3 would almost certainly be a loss. So yeah, the southern team desperately pinging Stag's commander, trying to take him out of the game and end this quickly. They've now taken out all of the production on the front line, and they're pushing in to Stag's base, and he will smartly retreat his commander in the nick of time. So a very effective push by the southern team there. They kind of waited until Stag had attempted to push into their base, and then they did a counterattack, and very effectively were able to take out the frontline structure of Stag's base. So very well done by the southern team. And now Stag will have to defend the rest of his base. He certainly doesn't want to let them push any further than they already have. As I said before, Diplomats not the greatest in combat with other units. They are more designed for static structures. And these Bulldogs, very annoying. These 3 Bulldogs getting so much done. They've already taken out a Geo. They've taken out Moho Metal Extractor. They might take out another one, but no. I think this Bulldog will finally be cleaned up. But in the meantime, Stag moving to T3. He already has 3 fusions and quite a bit of metal all over the map. And in the meantime, Wotan hasn't just been doing nothing. He has his own force his own T2 army of some Mavericks and Bulldogs and Stumpies now moving down the west side, but he will hit a wall of T3 because this player, let's see, who is it? Corb has advanced to T3 and is now building these Marauders. Marauders being one of the cheaper T3 units, and something you can kind of build early on when you hit T3 that are pretty good at defense. They shoot out a volley of missiles at a pretty decent range, and those should be more than enough to defend against Wotan's push there. So Wotan also on T3 now, T3 K-Bot. And his ally Stag on T3 as well, T3 vehicle. So Stag pumping out Behemoths, and Behemoths, as I've said before, are just kind of like upgraded Goliaths. Corb now pushing forward with this small contingent of Marauders, the T3 Missile Spider. And, oh, if he can take out these fusions, that would just be so devastating. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That is just absolutely terrible for Stag. He definitely wanted to build his fusions probably further back to prevent that kind of shenanigans from happening. His opponent just kind of walking up this hill and taking out those fusions. These Marauders, even though they are one of the cheaper T3 units, are still very, very difficult to kill. Still have more health than most T2 units do. So those are going to be a thorn in the northern team's side for sure, as they continue to move around their base and take out anything within their large range. Going to take out another Moho extractor. That was just such a devastating attack by Corb. Very unfortunate for the northern team. This single Marauder just getting so much damage done. It's hard to even say at this point how much it has killed. It's taken out many metal extractors. It's taken out 3 fusions. It's taken out many units as well, and Geos. Just such a devastating attack there. So, yeah, the northern team definitely in trouble at this point. Can they bounce back? Stag is going to have to rebuild his energy production somehow, but will he be able to in time? You can kind of see the northern team's base in tatters. There are pieces missing all over the place, and Stag rebuilding this Geo, attempting to reconstruct his energy production. But in the meantime, this group of Marauders now pushing up the left side. Marauders, being these kind of all-terrain spider K-bots, are also pretty good in this situation where they can crawl up these hills with no problem and get into the defenses. But even still, that should be plenty to push back this particular attack, I think. In the meantime, Stag ready to do his own counterattack, moving down the east side of the map with a group of Behemoth. Behemoth obviously much stronger than Bulldogs because they are T3. So I would say that in this engagement, the Behemoth should certainly clean up these Bulldogs, no problem, and give Stag an advantage in this particular engagement. But yeah, the question is, can the northern team hold off long enough to rebuild their economy, Stag rebuilding this fusion reactor, trying to get his energy back online. And these behemoths continuing to be annoying. At some point, I think those tactical missiles were taken out in an earlier push, but there is another tactical nuke here, built by Root. And Stag continuing to apply pressure with this army of behemoths. There is a Doomsday machine that is so close to being finished. But they will kill that constructor, and this Doomsday machine may never see the light of day. Here we go. Finally, John making a bombing campaign over his opponent. Gonna try to take out these behemoth with a group of Phoenix, but in the back here we have these copperheads. Just in time, it seems like Root was ready for that attack. And yeah, these copperheads will quite easily fend off those bombers, I would say, no problem. But in the meantime, Root on T3 Air. And we'll have to see, what is he building? Building a Gorgon there. And those bombers attempting another push. But yeah, it does seem like Root is going to be pushed back. I believe what happened was Root used a tactical nuke against Wotan, took out that anti-air defense, and that will push Stag back. And yeah, sorry, I keep getting the names confused here. It is difficult without a player list to know who is who sometimes. But yes, the dark green is Wotan. Oh my god, is Stag, and the blue is Wotan. And here in the bottom right, the red is John, but I think that is probably a Smurf account. I don't know who that really is. And here in the orange, we have Corb. And in the brown, we have Root. So, a very close game so far. Oh, are we frozen here? Okay, sorry about that, guys. I thought the replay may have frozen, but we're back. And again, I am kind of amazed at how well the Northern team has been able to hang on, despite the fact that they lost a player early on. Here we go. Bombing run. They're going to attempt to take out this Ultra Vehicle plant, and they will get it. That is just so devastating. The Southern team certainly taking advantage of the fact that they are a player up on their opponents. And they continue to apply relentless pressure in the form of both these ground-based pushes, the tactical nukes, and the air raids. They are just not giving the Northern team much of a chance to breathe at all. But Wotan and Stag, definitely you do not want to give them any chance to gain an advantage over you. These are both very experienced players on the Northern side, so certainly the Southern team making the right call by keeping the Northern team on their toes, keeping them on the defense, preventing them from ever achieving their military dominance. Having taken out this T3 structure was a total devastating blow, and it doesn't look like It doesn't even look like Stag has rebuilt that structure yet. So yeah, Stag is definitely going to need to rebuild his T3 facility if he wants to get back into this game. Here comes another tactical nuke, but there is an anti-nuke here, so that will be thwarted. And there is a Doomsday Machine here on the ridge, so that should stop most aggression coming through this area, I would think, but we'll have to see. The southern team saying that it's easier to push up the right side than it is the left side, and that is most certainly true. The only defense here on the east are this line of Behemoth and some Reapers and some Copperheads. But otherwise... Oh, and a Doomsday Machine. So it's not defenseless by any means, but probably easier to push into than the western portion. And the southern team has quite an army here. They have a very impressive combination of T2 and T3 units. Sending some scouts to try to see what's going on, see if they can push into their opponent's base. And here, Root building a decimator, the T3 core UFO type unit, Independence Day, shoots down a green laser of death. It has to hover over its target and then just melt it. So it would be quite impressive to see if that thing gets built in time. But here in the middle, the southern team going to make its push up the right side. From the middle, I mean, there are a group of Zeus and Marauders and a Cerberus, and this army of Centurion and Lugers and some Sumo in the back. This is going to be so hard to stop. Will the South team just win the game with this push? Remains to be seen, but yeah, Stag still hasn't rebuilt his T3 facility yet. There are some Rapiers in the mix here of Stags attempting to ward off this push, and some Phoenix coming in to join the fray. But that is a lot of Copperheads. It seems like Stag has not skimped on the air defense, certainly, and these Rapiers at this point, one of the last lines of defense, and pushing off this attack. But there is still plenty more to come. There are Centurions and Lugers and Sumos coming down the right. Will this be the game? Oh my god. In the meantime, a Gorgon in essentially the middle of the map. And this is going to kill anything in its radius. These Rapiers doing a valiant job of pushing back this attack. But these Sumos still moving up the eastern side of the map, and Sumos are very hard to kill. They have a ton of health, even though they're pretty slow. Will these Rapiers be able to clean them up in time before they do too much damage? And Centurions and Lugers as well. That Gorgon was eventually killed. But yeah, just looking at the northern team's base, it is in shambles. The southern team certainly feels like they are so far ahead at this point. I don't really see how the north can come back into this game, or if they can come back into this game. These Rapiers worth their weight in gold. The southern team having no air defense to speak of at all in that push. So these Rapiers able to operate with near impunity, pushing back every wave of attack with almost no response to them. Not any fighters either. I'm surprised that the Southern team hasn't even built a fighter screen to augment their push. But once again, Northern team still in trouble. The Southern team massing up more of an army for Cerberus here. That is an impressive number of armed T3 like artillery K-bots. And now a Demolisher, which I like to think of as like a T3 penetrator. They shoot these long-range railguns at a massive range, and they outrange most things in the game, even most defenses. You can see there, the range is huge. It's almost bigger than the screen itself. And I am on 1440p, so that is a huge range here in the on the west side. There is an impressive defensive line of toasters and doomsday machines. And now this decimator has been completed, and it will melt any target beneath it that gets struck by its green laser. These things are so hard to deal with. And Corb going to now push up the west side with this army of Cerberus and Marauders. And will they finally be able to break this western approach? The Southern team has not been able to get through here ever since Yellow died early in the game. Stag and Wotan have done a great job of defending, but I do think, yeah, they have finally broken through. The Southern team will finally make their way into the northern base from both sides. And the Northern team calling GG. I certainly think the Northern team did a valiant, they made a valiant effort of defending, despite the fact that they were a player down for most of the game. It certainly could have gone either way, but the Southern team doing a great job of applying that relentless pressure and preventing the Northern team from ever really getting to a comfortable place economically, and killing their production buildings over and over, killing their fusions, killing their metal production. So very good game, and I do have to say Stag and Wotan played their little hearts out. Definitely could have gone either way. Even 2v3, I think the Northern team could have won if they had just defended their base a little better, but my god, it is hard. It is very difficult because the Southern team really didn't give them much of a break. And now just the single Stag Junior commander left, and he will finally bow out. So great job there by both teams. That early Maverick push by Corb, putting Stag and Wotan at a huge disadvantage, but even despite that, they did such a valiant job of holding on and almost coming back and winning the game themselves. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.